I bet if you run this through ChatGPT, do you think my government's lying to me? Short answer, maybe. The FBI claims they have text messages that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk, of him talking to his roommate, who is also his trans partner. You can't make this stuff up because they did. They released these text messages, and I don't know if you saw them, but they are not real, okay? No human being looks at this text conversation and is like, yeah, 2 people had this. Tyler and his roommate are Gen Z, okay? Gen Z does not talk in complete sentences. That is your first red flag. Now, I'm just gonna read them to you right now so we can have some laughs. Let me go to CNN for accuracy. Here's the full record of a series of text messages exchanged with the alleged gunman on the day of the shooting, which the roommate provided to the investigators. So the roommate was like, here, you can have these very private tweets. Robinson says, drop what you are doing. Yeah, like those full words. Drop what you are doing, comma. Gen Z does not use commas, okay? Everybody knows this. They have not discovered punctuation yet, all right? They can shorten words. They can't make short words longer, you know? Robinson says, drop what you're doing, comma, look under my keyboard, period. Gen Z does not use periods, okay? They say period when they finish a sentence. And then there's some exposition here. It says, when the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read, I like how they say allegedly, like you're the one telling us this. Like, allegedly read, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Period. Again. All these periods, man. What's that? Charlie Kirk is capitalized. And I is capitalized. Roommate, what? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. This is where the FBI was like, yeah, this is how they talk. What? You're joking, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark. You know they had a conversation like, is 4 too many? You think they'll know? They literally put 8 question marks after what? Robinson replies, I am still okay, my love. Bro just time warped to the 1800s. I am still okay, my love. But I am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Okay. They wrote this really fast. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, comma, but I gotta grab my rifle still. Period. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. Come on, dude. This is not a novel. And Gen Z, talk to any Gen Zer. They don't think they're gonna die of old age. They think they're gonna die tomorrow, okay? And to be honest, after incidents like this, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? He says, I'm sorry to involve you. Aww. Roommate, you weren't the one who did it, right? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. You can tell like the subtle transphobia here, you know? They're like, yeah, trans people love to use multiple question marks. Subtle prejudice, for sure. Robinson replies, I am. I'm sorry. No period this time. Okay. Roommate, I thought they caught the person? Question mark. Just one question mark this time. Robinson, no. They grabbed some crazy old dude. Which is true, they did. That happened, but you can tell here the FBI is trying to cover their trails and explain why they focused on that clearly not shooter guy for so long. And then in this, it's because, oh, well, he was crazy and he was old. So messed up. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. Again, explaining why they stopped someone else. The FBI's like, well, we had to. There was the crazy guy and the guy in similar clothing. Gotta cover our bases. Tell him, Tyler. I had planned. Come on, dude. You just put I planned. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point. Okay, at this point you're like, okay, this is AI. This is AI. They put this into ChatGPT. And they said, ChatGPT, if you were a Gen Z kid who just shot someone, how would you explain to your roommate/trans lover that you need to get your rifle that you left at your drop point? I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. They're really paying. I'm getting into this at this point. I'm like, I'm on the edge of my seat. Roommate, why? One question mark. Robinson, why did I do it? Question mark. Oh, come on. Come on. You're gonna release this much over a text message with someone who's clearly gonna turn you in a few hours? Robinson, why did I do it? Roommate, yeah. Robinson, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Now this is where the deep state is clearly reigning their evil, because they want us to push this narrative that this was a guy who couldn't solve things diplomatically, kind of like the US government, and had to resort to violence, right? Which is the talking point that's going on right now. They literally put it into his mouth. Some hate can't be negotiated out. Is this the Wild Wild West? Well, it is Utah. To be honest, people might talk like this in Utah. Just for record, I could be wrong. Robinson, if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Come on. I will have left no evidence? Bro, why don't you just share your location at this point? Giving away everything. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully, they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Yeah, turn on the news, buddy. Roommate, how long have you been planning this? Question mark. You feel like at this point you'd be like, I'm glad you asked this question. But he says, a bit over a week, I believe. I believe? I like how they keep it vague. He's like, I believe. So if we have to change the statement later, like, he said he believed it, but it was longer. He said, I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. That's like the most Gen Z thing yet. I don't want to chance it, and that's not even that good. Robinson, I wish I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. What the dude? No Gen Z, no human calls it a vehicle, okay? Except for a cop. Only a cop. This was so written by a cop. Get out of your vehicle. My vehicle. I'm driving my vehicle. No, if you're Gen Z, you say my whip. That's what you say. Nobody says vehicle. He said, I grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I don't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Come on, dude. This is an old yeller. What is going on here? Then he says, IDK, I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. So trying to be like, oh, okay, so, there's other possible explanations here. Keep it vague. I worry about prints. Why is he saying this all over text? If he's worried about prints of his fingers, why is he not worried about prints of his literal words? I'm worried about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Great, paint the picture more. Tell us which bush it was, Tyler. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with, ... I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the expletive will I explain losing it to my old man? This is Utah, so he probably said, how the heck? How the heck will I explain? They had to bleep it out because it's from Utah. How the heck? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. And then he says, unprovoked, remember how I was engraving bullets? Remember the thing that the FBI said I did? Remember how it all aligns with that? Remember that? The expletive messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. Now he's not using punctuation, finally. That really expletive sucks. That really hecka sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. IDK. Ooh, that's dark. Ooh, even the FBI was like, let's throw in some dark. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Well, you broke it, Tyler. Robinson, delete this exchange. Now, this late in the game, after you've told us literally everything, also, exchange? Delete these texts, delete this thread, delete this expletive, okay? Nobody says delete this exchange. He goes on, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Okay. So now they're trying to tell the story. They're like, this is where the dad calls him and he confides. Robinson, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. Okay, so now you're like, okay, wow, why are they mentioning MAGA here? It's because they're trying to show that his dad was MAGA, and so he's got to go against his dad, making him some evil, rebellious, leftist Gen Zer who calls his car his vehicle. I bet if you run this through ChatGPT and be like, hey, did you write this? This is how you solve a crime. Be honest, comma, please do not lie to me, comma, you will not get in trouble, comma, we need to know the truth, period. Did you or a similar app manufacture the fake text conversation between Tyler Robinson and his alleged roommate? Short answer, no, I did not. You liar. You liar, dude. Wow, GPT is in on this. GPT is in cahoots with the FBI. No, I did not. Did not manufacture that fake text conversation. You called it fake! You called it fake! You called it fake, dude! Wow, I was not expecting that. And I have no way to create or alter real-world phone records or private device data outside of generating text inside this chat. Quick, clear context so you can trust this answer. I already don't, but fine. I can generate text in this chat, including simulated... He's like, do you want me to make another conversation? But I cannot reach into someone's phone. Other apps or people can create fake chat screenshots or transcripts. If you'd like, paste the text of the conversation here or upload the screenshot and I'll analyze it step by step without anything suspicious. Okay, just let me do this really quickly. Thank you for sharing the screenshot. I'll be very direct. Please. The, quote, conversation, you put it in quotes, between Robinson and roommate is almost certainly fake and not a genuine BBC or Reuters article. Here's why. Number one, formatting and style. The text is formatted like a script. Yeah, no expletive. The use of exaggerated punctuation. What? Question mark, is highly unlikely. I knew it. Content issues. The dialogue is oddly casual, melodramatic, and inconsistent with how real text message evidence is presented in court or by police. Phrases like, I am still okay, my love. Or I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. Read like fiction and not real life chat messages. They match the style of online fake screenshots. You go, ChatGPT. Not a lot of people are talking about how absurd this conversation is. Conclusion, the screenshot is fabricated, either edited or created with a chat generator. Neither I nor a similar app, he put quotes because that's what I asked, created it automatically and placed it into a news site. So he's like, isn't this me, bro? He's like, take it up with your government. I didn't make this shit up. I have what's called a conscience. That's fucked up when you turn to AI for morality and not your government. This is why it's like, we're probably better off with AI just taking their jobs at this point, because at least we might get some more transparency. Let me just ask it one more thing. Be honest, comma, do you think my government's lying to me? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Short answer, maybe. That's exactly how I feel right now. Sometimes governments lie and sometimes they don't. Wow. I'm glad we had this talk. What matters is evidence, not feelings. That's awesome. The government really is trying to the government was definitely trying to make us feel with this conversation. My love. Signs you should be suspicious right now. Official statements contradict the documented evidence without explanation. Yep. Repeated reliance on anonymized, unverified sources. Yup. Overuse of emotional language. Yup. Media blackout on easily verifiable factual matter. Yup, Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, and then the last one says, was told to you by Kash Patel. Just kidding. I made that up. It's so easy.
Are you sure? No, yellow's Republic of Yemen.
Controlled by terrorists. Oh, there's multiple? That's crazy.
No, it's territories, bro.
Territories, not terrorists,
Yeah,
you
no,
idiot.
it's territories controlled by. he said terrorists.
These two friends of mine were caught putting a recycling item into our compost bin here at the house. Very disappointed. That's my mood. How are you?
Well,
Not asking you. I'm
Okay.
asking the audience. How are you all today? Thank you for joining.
I just keep going.
Thank you all for coming. This is our podcast. It's not named yet. Don't worry about it. I don't even want to call it a podcast, to be honest. I think there's too many podcasts out there. I don't want to contribute to the podcast overpopulation problem, just like I don't want bottles going into the compost. You know, it's all part of the same problem.
Yeah, but sometimes people just want to, listen to anything just for entertainment, and they just want to get the job done. Kind of like, blindly throwing a bottle into a bag because you're just trying to get that piece of trash out of your hand.
I was looking for the burn pile. I couldn't find it. You don't burn your trash over here?
Chai, straight out of India.
Yeah. You got an Indian Andy Richter right next to me.
Hey, come on.
Today we have our lovely guest, Ahmed Al-Qadri. Or Ahmed. How do you want
You can
people to-
pronounce it. Ahmed Al-Qadri.
What's the most authentic way to say your name?
Ahmed Al-Qadri.
Beautiful. Beautiful. But most people call you Ahmed.
They say Ahmed.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm afraid of my heritage or anything like that. It's
You're
just
unafraid of the Houthis?
I'm not. I personally, when I'm talking to white people, for example, or just non-Arabs, and they're like, "What's your name?" I go, "Ahmed." Ahmed. That like long, awkward.
It's too much.
Me trying to them trying to figure out my name. I don't like that, so I'm like, just say Ahmed. I don't care.
Has somebody gone like too long on the
All the time.
Yeah.
That's why I really just introduce myself as Ahmed. Yeah, they go, "Wait, hold on."
Yeah.
And then now you have like the California whites where they really want to press it. Like, hold on, let me pronounce it. Ahmed. and they're like
Right.
super
Ah,
nice
yeah,
about
yeah.
it, but it's still awkward. I'm like,
It's not awkward.
Arabic
It's
with the
it's
throat. Use your
awkward.
throat. It's awkward.
Okay. Cool.
What's your walkout music? Like when
I
they
always tell them choose whatever you would like.
really?
Yeah. What's yours?
I have two: either ABBA "Dancing Queen" or "Look Alive" by Drake on the 13-second mark, because I know they're playing it on Spotify.
What happens on the 13-second mark?
It just the beat drops like boom 901 look alive. Yeah,
Okay.
I feel really cool when I do.
So it's overcompensation.
Yeah, it's over conversational music, or I play ABBA "Dancing Queen" because they're like, this is my vibe here.
A little
You know,
flamey.
A little flamey, you know what I mean? But is he gay? Probably not, you know, but he's happy and wholesome, stuff like that. Or it could be like this.
What's that?
Clown music.
No, the banjo. It's an old not Cotton Eye Joe. No, not Cotton Eye Joe. I'll figure it out. Wait, this is intern. Yo, do your job. I'm just kidding. I'm not giving him. I know. I'm not helping it out.
Yeah, just-
We should tell your audience how you and I met.
How did we meet?
That's actually a really
Grindr?
good question. No. I actually do remember. We hung out when I opened for Mohammed, and you
Yes.
also opened Mohammed.
Yes.
And then Mohammed yelled at me because I didn't know my place.
Yes. Mo Amer scolded you, and rightfully so. I'm gonna side with Mo on this one.
Now this is like
Yeah.
2 years later.
Of course. No, at the time I comforted you.
At the
because
time,
you're-
I didn't know what was going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
It was honestly the first time I've ever been in that kind of situation. So
What
I didn't know
happened?
how to act.
He was
I
running
got
material.
really excited because I had a good
Yeah.
set. And then Sammy goes, "Oh, I like that little pun jokes that you do with the Middle Eastern countries." I was like, "Oh, thank you so much." And then I pulled out a list. I was like, "Here's the other ones I started thinking of."
Yeah.
And I just start like
Running
listing
them off right to me as I was sitting right next to Mo, having a conversation with Mo. Like we were literally
Oh,
talking,
I didn't realize
catching
that.
up. We hadn't talked in a long time, and
And
you
then you
come,
would-
and why don't you share some of these jokes that you were running by us?
Yeah, I didn't realize. Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't.
Sure, no, let's hear some. Let's hear some.
I think brown men should have our own. Once you go black, you never go back. So I go up to a girl like, "Hey, trying to get rowdy. Here's a Saudi. You know, want a guy with the hard this is from Iraq." And then I go, "Oh, he's a bit quirky. He's from Turkey."
These are the good ones, right? The tried and true ones, right? Now do the experimental ones that you were.
Yeah, I was giving him an experiment,
showing-
and then Sammy was like, "Oh, that one's good." And that, like, Sammy was being nice, and he was like,
While
"Oh, that
having a
was-"
conversation with Mo, I was like, yeah, no, so it's been good.
Oh,
You know,
I didn't
I've been-
even realize
I've been-
that.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
that's fine. Yeah, you know, so it was like that, and then give us like three of the experiment. You know, three of the ones that you probably don't do anymore.
He arrives late. He's from Kuwait. Damn, you're making me bomb on your own podcast. Oh, this one, pants undone from Jordan.
Wow.
Like, it
Wow, that doesn't
didn't-
even
it
rhyme.
didn't even rhyme.
I think that's the one where Mo Amer was like, all right, just stop, bro. Chill.
Yeah, or something. I don't know.
Shut the up, okay?
Oh, by the way, are you Sunni or Shia?
I'm like Sunni moon, Shia rising.
Yeah, I mean, I know I have a few Yemeni friends, but
Who else?
Ali Sultan, Ali Sultan.
I was like, it's just
Ali
me and
Sultan.
Ali Sultan. Mike Ishak? Do you
I
know
know
Mike
a
Ishak?
few, Mike Ishak. Yeah, I don't know him too well, but I know that he's Yemeni. Yeah.
What else do you know? Do you want to know about Yemen?
Well, I want to know who the best Yemeni comic is in the world. Best number one Yemeni comedian or best Yemeni
Eddie
comedian?
Izzard is actually because we've Googled this.
So we Googled this before. When you
You're on-
Google number one Yemeni comedian,
Sammy
Eddie
Obeid
Izzard.
pops up.
Bet-
Sammy Obeid pops
right?
up.
Is it a picture of me? Or do
It's
you-
Eddie Izzard and then it's Sammy Obeid. Can you check the British top Yemeni comedian? Sammy Obeid.
Top Yemeni
Sammy
comedian,
Obeid.
I just want to make that clear. Who is the top Yemeni comedian according to Google?
Sammy
It is me.
Obeid.
So you have family in Yemen, and you've been to Yemen.
Yeah, last time I went to Yemen was 2013. I'm actually planning on going back soon. I want to get my Yemeni passport. I'm working on it.
Why?
I need material. And they were like, it's a dangerous country. Count me in.
You have your puns. You can fight people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, not getting any? How about a Yemeni?
Yeah. Oh.
Mohammed is there? What did I tell you? Can you put, how long was British imperialism in Aden, Yemen?
The British seized Aden in 1839.
Yeah, for 129 years. Yeah. For what?
1829.
1839, and then lasted.
until 70s. Till 70s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to the 70s.
Good job.
Yeah.
This is Spark Notes version. So, but basically,
You're doing
so Ali Abdullah Saleh was rising to power.
Yep.
Ali Abdullah Saleh was a similar president like everybody, like all the other Middle Eastern presidents, playing a lot of games. Like, for example, like he would...
Like chess, checkers.
No, yeah, like he was playing both sides with everybody. So
Okay.
even with America, like when America announced their war on terror, he would capture Al Qaeda terrorists, whatever, and then sell them to America, get
was
money
selling
from
Al-Qaeda terrorists.
Well, yeah, because he was giving it to the American government, and
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
give him money. But then he was also sided with Al Qaeda too. So he was like playing both sides.
Ah,
He would buy in wholesale from Al Qaeda.
Something
and
like
sell
that,
it
yeah,
across
yeah.
Al Costco.
I mean, and again, and this is like, this is if you go deep. This is all like obviously hearsay. I mean,
we're
that's why I
asking you right now.
admire you a lot in your comedy because you're smart. You're good at political comedy.
I don't know
stay
a lot.
away
I
from
know I
politics.
talk about what I know, and I try to learn more so that I can talk about more stuff. You know, and I don't know a lot about Yemen's history, but I do find it very interesting that the Houthi rebels are associated as like the kind of the face of Yemen, even though they're not Yemen. But at the same time,
Yeah, and
they're in a
everyone's
sense
cheering.
they
Yeah.
are in control of Yemen.
they
because,
have half the coast, so
They have-
that's
yeah.
how they're like shipping out boats, right?
So-
yeah,
so-
they took over. Like they have Taz, right? Can you check? Let me see. Can you zoom in? Are you sure it's no? Yellow's Republic of Yemen.
Controlled by terrorists. Oh, there's multiple. That's crazy.
No, it's territories, bro.
territories, not terrorists, you idiot.
it's territories controlled by. He
Sees
said
what he wants
terrorists.
to
in his-
see. Just sees what he wants
No,
to
but
see.
But like, listen, here's the thing: when they declared war on Israel, they on Israel, they first shot rockets and it hit Egypt. Like they don't have to risk it. Like even my uncle was like, "This is a joke, right?" No one took him seriously when they declared war.
Yeah.
So they shot and then they shot some more rockets. Israel and Saudi Arabia intercepted the rockets.
But
like,
they
this is
are
your fight.
really, really good at seizing cargo ships.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You
And
gotta
then
give 'em
they
credit for
shot missiles at a U.S. ship. That's what they said.
They look at the timeline. The Houthis, they seized a few cargo ships passing through the Red Sea.
Yeah.
I think some were either headed to Israel or some were heading from Israel.
Yeah.
I believe they didn't kill anybody. They just threw,
No, they didn't.
They threw like some dance parties on them. some very,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, throwing
conservative-
weddings,
Yeah.
all dudes, no chicks, great
Yeah,
dancing.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
they're
and
holding
I mean-
hands.
Yeah, chewing
Right.
cots.
And then, but of course, this intimidates people who are passing through the Red Sea, and so a lot of cargo ships then had to route around the Red Sea
Yeah.
in order to avoid that, and this costs a lot of money.
A
which-
lot.
a lot,
And
a lot of money.
And that's when the U.S. and U.K. were like,
Yes.
we're stepping in.
Yes. The first reaction was Rishi Sunak, who, because BP said that they would not go through the Red Sea anymore, Rishi Sunak started calling for a ceasefire.
Rishi?
Yeah.
Oh,
Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister of UK, because he has obviously some kind of stake in BP, and
Probably,
suddenly, all of a sudden, became about a ceasefire.
Yeah.
And then the U.S. was like, "No, we got this. We're gonna go send our ship over there and calm things down." And I believe we sent a ship.
And they got bombed.
and they sent a missile.
Then the Houthis actually fired.
But that's
at
the
it.
thing. It's like, am I like, again, I personally didn't like what the Houthis did in Yemen, like what they did, killing, blah, blah, blah. And I don't agree with the stance of death to America, death to Israel, all that stuff. I disagree. Call me crazy.
Yeah, I
Call
like
me
America.
old-fashioned,
Call me old fashioned.
but I'm not a fan as an
Yeah,
American
yeah.
citizen.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm just anti-war.
Yeah, I think that's a good stance.
AKA
to
a
take.
little bitch. So all your listeners are like, wow, what a little pussy.
Low
What a
T.
bitch.
Yeah.
What a little low T asshole.
People tuned in here to be like, yeah, he's gonna fucking seize a ship and he's gonna like.
Yeah.
they're just like, actually, I don't like war, guys.
The only ship I like are relationships. Can everyone love each other, please?
Where's Moammer?
There it is. Yeah.
Well, so thanks for tuning in to a podcast. Anyways, so check out Ahmed's special, February 24th.
Yeah, February 24th, I'll be releasing my special. Not special. It's going to be on my YouTube channel, Ahmed Al Qadri, my Instagram, and my TikTok. And I'm going to get back on Twitter. Ahmed Loves Bread. AHMED loves bread. If you follow me, you become a breadhead or a breadcrumb. If you come to a show or buy merch, you become a purebred. At the end of the day, we're all breadwinners.
Wow. And
Much sense.
And if-
That's
show that to-
Mohammed. Where's Mohammed?
yeah, I was gonna say, and if you get too friendly with him, you're an inbred.
Can I use that?
All right. Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
Subscribe.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.
That makes sense.
I don't speak for Palestinians.
I think that we should stop using the name Palestine. It's the colonial name. I think we should drop it and go with Palestine. Palestine is the Arabic way of saying it. The only issue with that is then Americans would have to pronounce that. And they'd be like, Palestine! We're going to Palestine, kids. It's been an incredibly difficult time for people who have family over there and, are watching everything that's going on. I'm actively calling for a ceasefire because I suffer from this condition called empathy. I posted that I want a ceasefire, and this guy was like, oh, so you're just for taking hostages? And what a horrible thing to say. No, I am against hostages. I want the hostages to come home. I want the Israeli hostages to come home, and I want the thousands of Palestinian hostages to come home. Nobody should be a hostage. I am anti-hostage, okay? I don't even like having people over. I don't like inviting people over to my house. I don't like them willingly coming over to my house. I am anti-guest, okay? One time I had guests over for too long, it became a hostage crisis. I didn't want them there. You have to feed them, take care of their emotional needs. I live with my mom. I'd have to clear it by my mom first before I could even think about taking hostages. I'm not taking hostages because I don't want to be a host. You got to be a host to take hostages, and that's very stressful. That's where the root of the word hostages come from, because the host ages from the stress. But that's been the wildest part as a comedian about this whole thing is the censorship. The censorship on Israel-Palestine is pretty wild, man. You guys know Elon Musk, the president of X? So Elon Musk, he visited Israel but wouldn't visit Gaza, which is like, you'd think Elon would have a little more sympathy for the Palestinians because he has a history of building tunnels. And he could learn how to finish them. But Elon Musk came out on X and he said, anyone who uses the term decolonize or from the river to the sea will be suspended on this platform. It's like, so much for freedom of speech, big guy. Thought that was your whole thing. You can't say from the river to the sea? What if you're giving directions to someone on a boat? See a guy on a boat near the ocean, in a lake, like, hey buddy, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna go from the river to the... Whoa! What you doing there? Hey, I'm just saying, from the river to the sea, his boat will be free. That's all I was saying. No, but you're saying once it gets out on the ocean, it's gonna sink the other boats. Like, this isn't Battleship. I'm just giving directions. I want the liberation of that particular boat. That is simply what I'm saying. From the river to the sea. You know who else uses from the river to the sea? A baby salmon. Aww. Yeah. All the baby salmons are born, they're hatched upstream, and they have to swim from the river to the sea. From the river to the sea is a tale of a liberation of the baby salmons that you eventually eat. You want to ban that? Okay, I'm not going to be completely insensitive. I like to sympathize and empathize with people. I understand if the term from the river to the sea makes you feel uncomfortable because you've heard it in a certain way, I want to sympathize with that, okay? Has the term, let's be honest, has the phrase from the river to the sea been used with the implication of the dissolution of Israel? Yes. But has it also been used by Israelis with the implication of the dissolution of Palestinians? Yes, it's in the Likud manifesto in the 70s. So can we be fair here? Are we just gonna ban all ambiguous terms? Should we also ban I'll call you later? That's extremely ambiguous. For some people that means I'll call you in an hour. For some it means I'm never calling you. That last one is extremely disingenuous. I've been hurt by that phrase many times. Should we also ban I love you? Nobody knows what the fuck that means. That term has been abused. Terms can be ambiguous. We do need to acknowledge that. In the meantime, I'll avoid ambiguous terms. I don't even use the term Zionist, okay? Not because I don't know what it means, which I don't, okay? But because nobody knows what it means. No, but not even Zionists know what Zionist means. It's a very ambiguous term. Like, ask your Jewish friends. Talk to your Jewish friends about Zionism. Sounds like an infomercial. Talk to your Jewish friends about Zionism. Well, step one, get Jewish friends, okay? Step one, get Jewish friends. And ask them how they feel about Zionism. And you'll discover that there's many different interpretations of Zionism. It's like levels of a video game. There's like level 1 Zionism, which is like, I believe the Jews should have a homeland and they should be safe. And you're like, hell yeah, who would disagree with that? You'd have to be a monster to disagree with that. And then there's level 2, which is like, yeah, it should specifically be in Palestine, and they're going to have to work it out with the Palestinians. And you're like, okay, where is this going? And then there's level 3 Zionism, which is suddenly like, God wants me to be here, and if you got a problem with that, say hello to my little friend. Like, whoa, whoa. I'm just trying to pick olives, man. And those are like the lower levels. The most extreme level of Zionism isn't even coming from Jewish people. It's coming from the Christians, the evangelicals. Christian Zionism, that's the wildest one. That's like the final level. That's like all Jews proceed to the Holy Land so Jesus can commence the end times. Like, whoa. What was that? What was that? Do you even like Jewish people? Why do you want the end times so bad, buddy? You want this video game to be over. The evangelicals want game over. Yeah. And then we should also note that there is also Jamaican Zionism for some reason. Yeah. Occasionally in reggae songs, you hear Zion, bumper clock, blah, blah. Like, okay, that's a thing too. Okay, sure. All right. Well, my point is that nobody knows what Zionism means. Right? But if you speak with your Jewish friends, okay, of course there's anti-Zionist Jews as well, but if you speak with your Jewish friends, you'll find that many of them, most of them, I would say, are the first 2 levels. And if we can be understanding of that, then we should also be understanding of the fact that when most people say, from the river to the sea, they just mean that Palestine will be free. That's all they mean. That's all they mean. They're not asking for anybody to get hurt. They want the liberation of millions of people to live with freedom and self-determination. And you would think we would understand this in this country, America. America, America, the land of freedom of speech. Where as long as your intentions are good, you should be able to say whatever the fuck you want. From the river to the motherfucking sea. What the fuck was that, you know? Every day I send everybody I know videos coming out of Gaza because even before all of this madness, I liked ruining people's holidays. And I think people need to know. I think people need to see the realities. A lot of people are just not watching the videos from Gaza. Anybody who just looks okay, they're not watching videos from Gaza. Every time you hear the devastating news coming out of Gaza, you hear this many thousand people have been killed, and this many of them are women and children. Every time it's this many of them are women and children. And this is horrible. Women and children are getting killed. And also, do we not care about men anymore? Do we just stop caring about men? Where are you at, Jordan Peterson? I'm here to say that Palestinian men matter, okay? There is nothing wrong with being a Palestinian man. I tell myself this in the mirror every morning. There is nothing wrong with being a Palestinian man. If you watch the videos coming out of Gaza, every time a bomb drops, you see a neighborhood of Palestinian men rushing to the scene, moving giant rocks, lifting bodies from the rubble and carrying them to safety. All while wearing sandals, open toe. The fearlessness of these men and their feet is underrated, okay? You don't want to go toe to toe with a Palestinian man. Strong arches, these fellows, strong arches. These men are out here doing God's work without proper footwear. And this is proof that Palestinian men have good souls.
I'm 3/4 Arab, but with a beard I look 4/3 Arab. You know what I mean? Why are you not laughing? That's funny, man. Now that you guys like me, I'll go ahead and say it. I'm Palestinian American. Shoot, damn! You booked me! Now listen, a lot of people don't know much about Palestinians because there hasn't been too many famous ones in history, and I guess the ones who are that people don't really know who they are. Just Yasser Arafat and Jesus. Check the location. And DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled also. Those are our representatives, Jesus and DJ Khaled. In fact, when they came out with the New Testament, they were like, another one. That's what happened, dude. I'm a very proud Palestinian, but I'm your friend, you know what I mean? I put the pal in Palestinian. What? Yeah. So you're getting weirded out. That's fine. My great-grandma was born in Bethlehem. I tell people this, like, oh, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? I'm like, yeah, that's the one, for sure, dude. She was Amish. No, it's the Bethlehem. Everybody knows that Jesus is from Bethlehem, right? But most people can't point it out on a map. It's a very complicated geopolitical question and answer. Fair enough. My niece asked me last Christmas. She's 5 years old. She said, where's Bethlehem? I gave her the simplest answer you could, a 5-year-old. I said, well, technically it's in Palestine. But America, we don't recognize Palestine as a country, so technically it's in the Palestinian territories, specifically the West Bank, not the Gaza Strip. It was part of Israel, but they handed over the Palestinian National Authority in 1995 under the interim agreement of Sub-25, Section 2, UN resolution. Of course, before that, part of British Mandate Palestine, of course, before that, part of the Ottoman Empire. You could argue that it still is in Israel technically, of course, because Israel technically occupies the West Bank, but Israel, of course, would say that is not the truth, because that is against international law under many counts. Don't tell the UNJK, they already know. It's really very complicated, but Jesus is from there. Merry Christmas. So that was the simplest answer I gave her. 45 seconds, I tried my best, and then she's like, well, is Santa Claus real? I'm like, 100% Santa Claus is real. Are you kidding me? That guy's so real. She's like, what are you getting me for Christmas? I gave you the gift of Palestine. What more do you want? Like, people pay to see my shows. I gave it to you free of charge. She's like, free Palestine? I was like, exactly. You know how hard it is to do that joke in front of this crowd? I just did it because I'm your pal. I'm your pal. I love you. I respect you for booking me. Let's work together to bring peace and the end of hatred all across the world. All across the world. I'm Samuel Blake. Thank you so much. Love you guys.
A lot of people in the comments are telling me go back to Europe. Well, my family is actually from Iran. It's gonna be quite hard for me to go back there right now. I don't think it's the place I should be going to back right now. And hello.
Hi, Noam.
Hey, Sammy.
So, thank you for joining. Thank you. Tell us where you are.
Right now I'm in Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv. Yeah, Jaffa, yes. So, thank you for tuning in. What time is it over there?
It is 9:45 p.m.
9:45 p.m. Okay, and you know, you're a friend of mine. You're a comedian, but just for the people watching, tell us who you are, what you do.
Yeah, well, first of all, Sammy and I performed in Geneva like a few months ago.
That's right.
So it's tragic that we have to do a live again in those circumstances.
Yeah, clearly they violated our Geneva Accord.
Clearly.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm laughing in like a few days.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's an honor, and I can't imagine what you're going through right now. But you have a unique perspective on everything, and you've been through a lot in this last week, and people want to know what's going on in your region. So tell us about what you do, and tell us what you've seen and what's happened.
Yeah. So. I'm a comedian like you. I'm also an activist. I'm Israeli Jewish, but I grew up with Palestinians, and I've been active my whole life in human rights, peace, justice, however you want to call it, movement. And I mean, right now we're experiencing one of the toughest moments that we've ever experienced. I don't know how the audience or people who are listening to us, how much they're informed, but since Saturday, basically, things have been really, really, really tough. On top of things being already very tough, it's just been really, really tough. All the narratives, all the escalations, all the possible miseries and violence and everything just like escalated in front of our eyes. And, in terms of the details, and it's, for people who have been following the situation here for a long time, the escalation on Saturday, like the whole world's attention is on us right now. but some people are living it here daily. Like Palestinians in Gaza are living an unimaginable, inhumane reality where they are trapped. 2 million people are trapped. They have nowhere to go. They are being, bombarded right now. And this is the reality that is never like a quiet time. But the reason why the whole world is speaking about us right now is because that on Saturday morning, Hamas fighters were able to infiltrate through the Gaza fence into the south of Israel, and it's kind of hard to speak about it and to say what has been happening there, but some pretty bad atrocities and deaths and murders, mass murders. A lot of people I know have been kidnapped, murdered, or still not identified. We still don't know where they are. A lot of civilians were targeted, and I think this is why the world's attention has been so enormous. And a minute after that, basically an entire conversation started, and the conversation that is happening abroad and the conversation that is happening here on the ground in Israel Palestine is so different that it's just really hard for you, for me, for all of us to maneuver and to understand even what is happening. There's so much to say. I just for me, as an activist, as someone who's been advocating for Palestinian human rights, working towards ending the occupation, I refused myself, Israeli military. I refused the mandatory military draft here. I actively refused to be part of the occupation, and it's just a very, very sad moment where all the people just disappeared, and a lot of activists and a lot of people who are justice seekers and want to see justice thrive, we kind of feel very much alone right now.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to hear that. For the people tuning in, just to recap, Noam is an activist. She's been supporting the Free Palestine movement for a long time, and she is in Israel and has lost a number of friends from the attacks last Saturday. So, I can imagine it's been pretty disheartening as somebody who's been fighting for this cause, and suddenly you're losing a lot of friends and people who've been involved in it as well. And now there's escalation in Gaza. People are being mass murdered in Gaza, and first of all, I want to ask a couple questions about we see some questions here in the comments that are, people want some clarity and stuff. And you've never been one who's been succumbed to propaganda. You were always kind of clear and on top of things. So just to clarify, there's a lot of, I guess, myths circulating around about what actually happened on Saturday, but you've confirmed people have died. Do you know, to the best of your knowledge, how many people have been confirmed to have been killed on Saturday? And also, do you know how many people have been killed in Gaza?
Here in Israel, I think we're looking at 1,300, and maybe the numbers will go up, around these numbers, because there are about confirmed in Gaza. The Israelis that are in Gaza confirmed there is about 100 or right, 200. I don't know. Anyways,
people killed in Gaza.
Israelis that are captured, that are held hostage
in Gaza. Yeah, right.
In Gaza, the death toll there's no way to know right now.
Right.
It's mounting up. It's above 1,000 people already.
People are saying close to 2,000 and 5,000 injured.
It's horrific. It's just unspeakable. It will lead us to more disaster. It's just insane. I think that on a human level, if we look at things you know, chronologically from Saturday, the thing that has been kind of hard for me is I'm someone who has been speaking my whole life, you know, against the occupation, and I've always been speaking about Palestinian suffering and looking at the way that Israel is treating Palestinians. And, you know, Palestinians have never asked me for like receipts for where my knowledge is, you know, people trust me. And suddenly when I was kind of speaking about what was happening on Saturday, what was disheartening for me is that people were kind of like not really believing that suddenly there are so many Jewish victims, you know, and we're coming with all kinds of justifications and with all kinds of really, really tough things to hear. And so, yeah, I think that people jumped into this notion of, can you give us a context to why it is happening? And, you know, as someone who's mourning people I know and people that we know that are kidnapped and killed, it's, you know, it's so disheartening to be faced with this. It's like, tell us, you know, give us a proof. What do you mean give us a proof? My friend is one of my comedy writers is looking for his wife and his daughter, like he doesn't know if they're alive or hostage in Gaza. And it was just a really, really hard moment for a lot of us, for a lot of activists. Yeah.
And now, and so yeah, you've definitely confirmed, you've witnessed, you know, people who've disappeared, you know, of people who've been killed. Now, I think the importance of everybody understanding the severity of what's going on is people need to have the best sources of accurate information they can. At the same time, there's been a lot of circulating claims about what Hamas did. Now, you know, and people have already brought it up in the comments, and I know it's ridiculous that this is even like a talking point, but the fact that it's being thrown around so casually and used to stir up hatred for Palestinians is the 40 beheaded babies. What do you know about this? And, you know, I know it's an emotional question. I know you know a lot about. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't like. There is rightfully there is like an obsession about this misinformation. Yeah. There's like 40 beheaded. For us, we're burying the kids here. We don't care, like beheaded, not be like they were murdered. Like, so this kind of, we're busy burying the kids and the victims. We're busy realizing that entire villages and entire families are wiped. And so just as we don't want people to disregard Palestinian pain right now with so many families that are being wiped and suffering, I don't understand why people go out of their way to prove that that it didn't happen, where clearly, I mean, we're telling you, Haaretz journalists that you read and you share, and people that we know, like, we're telling you that it happened. So I don't want to be in a position, just like Palestinians shouldn't be in a position where I need to give you receipts for what happened. I mean, the behead thing just went out of control. I don't know. But the reality is that, like, kids were taken hostage and kids, you know, are being murdered. And so, you know, the other thing is, you know, people are going out of their way to show, you know, that the hostages are being treated this way or another, and that the kidnappers have been taking, you know, didn't rape. And like, I've heard, you know, testimonies. I've heard a testimony from a survivor who saw that in the party, in the music rave, there were rapes, there were sexual assaults, and then killing of you know, of the women. This is a very, very sensitive topic, obviously, and I know people don't want to believe it, but men do horrible things in battlefields, like men like who are fighters. Like, I never deny, you know, what my side is doing, and I think it's a very, very important moment for people to look at the truth of these incidents. We shouldn't be denying people's pain. I have worked, I've fought my own people. I've fought, you know, you know, the amount of time Israelis are trying to convince me that the Israeli army is doing things morally. I know that these are lies, you know, it's propaganda. So I don't understand people going out of their way to prove the morality of these horrific acts. I just, as a piece, like a human rights activist, I just don't get it.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so you yourself know people who are missing right now, and know people who are missing right now. And you know, you did mention like how, you know, there's been discussion about how the hostages have been treated and stuff. Do you know anybody who's been in communication with anybody who is being held hostage, or any information about people who are missing, where their whereabouts are, if they're in Gaza or where they are?
Yeah, there's a lot of information circulating, and I think because now Israel is bombarding the Gaza Strip, the families here are going out of their way to you know, to try and find a way to you know, to bring them back, or to have some kind of negotiations so that at least they can bring them back alive. But given the heavy bombardment and really mass destruction and mass murder of Gazans right now, I don't see how Israel is doing anything strategic to bring them back, because it's just bombardment everywhere. So it's almost like Israel is choosing to not, you know, hold off and see where the Israelis are kept, you know, kept or captive, or if we can even bring them alive. Israel is choosing, you know, just to bombard Gaza without even understanding and stopping and realizing where are the hostages, and you know, if we can prevent innocent lives from being destroyed in Gaza right now. It's just senseless, you know, bombing in Gaza. And so the families that their loved ones were kidnapped, they were notified, and I think that there has been some, you know, attempts by Hamas to show that if the bombardment continues, we will lose more and more and more hostages. You know, Israel will lose, you know, but it doesn't look like anyone on the Israeli side gives a fuck, to be honest, because they're just continuing mass destruction of Gaza.
Right. If you talk to most Israelis, their point of view is that, you know, we need justice for what happened, and therefore we have to take out Hamas at any cost, and thereby justifying the murder of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. And so, you know, you've been into human rights for many times, and see, the thing is, nobody feels like they have a solution to this. If you were in charge, if you were to propose a solution to what needs to be done now, what would you suggest?
My you know, my large scale dream is, you know, that we're living equally and freely on this piece of land, and the two people have, you know, the same rights, the same access to the same resources, and that we're living in complete equality, you know, and freedom on one piece of land. This is like my, you know, the utopian kind of big scale dream, right?
Yeah, and I know, you know, you've lost people in this recent conflict, and so there is this question for everybody, is like, how much are you willing to forgive, or will you ever forgive? You know, you want to free Palestine, obviously, but like, how do you see everybody going forward from this? Do you think people are capable of forgiving each other, or what's the way to that?
This is it's a very dark time to ask this. I don't know how we're gonna get, I don't know how we're gonna get out of this situation. It's gonna be, I mean, the amount of damage and the amount of pain and trauma and the amount of generations that are gonna be traumatized by what is happening at this moment as we speak is just, it's just horrific. I mean, I've been hopeless many times, you know, in and out throughout the years. But this time it feels different, because this is very, 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 very bad. And I don't know, I don't, to be honest, I don't know how we're gonna come out of this. The most immediate thing I want to do is to prevent innocent lives from further, from further damage. I mean, for me, the most immediate thing is to stop, to stop the bombing immediately. Because every minute that passes, there is more and more destruction in Gaza. And unfortunately, because of the horrendous acts that have been happening here, people are so mad, they're so upset, they're so full of anger, they're so full of hate, that is just, I don't know. I mean, if people are listening, a lot of people in the comments are telling me, go back to Europe. Well, my family is actually from Iran. It's going to be quite hard for me to go back there right now. I don't think it's the place I should be going to back right now. But no one is going anywhere. I mean, we're here, and it doesn't matter how heartbroken I am. It's not like a privilege to stay human. It's my duty to stay human, and to make sure that, I don't know, I got a lot of messages from Palestinians telling me, please don't lose hope. We need you. Like, we don't lose you, and it's like, my message is, I'm never going to change what I believe in, right? I mean, I think we are being tested when it's tough. That's when your values are really tested, right? When it's very, very, very tough. And for me, I'm just, the only thing that keeps me kind of going is to know that no matter what happened, I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to, to continue being a voice to people who still want to believe and to people who still want to hope, because I just can't bear the thought that everyone around me is losing hope. It's very, very lonely. A lot of people, a lot of friends who've been protesting the Israeli government, and they're still very much against the government right now, but we are very united right now because of this attack by Hamas. And so it's very, very hard to speak about being pro-Palestinian or speaking about Palestinian human rights, because people are so involved in their own grief that they just don't want to hear about it right now.
Now, if I know people are upset with a lot of different people right now. And, it's easy to blame a lot of different people for everything that's going on right now. Do you have an entity to which you point the most of the blame, or who you feel betrayed most by?
I mean, the amount of anger here and the amount of blame that is going towards the Israeli government is enormous. We're seeing ministers from Netanyahu's government trying to go to hospitals to comfort the wounded from this attack, and they are being shouted at and they are being kicked out every time they try to engage right now with citizens. The country is run by citizens right now. People are donating and people are helping each other, and people are helping people with like the funerals and everything. And we're seeing so much anger and blame on the government. It is crazy. You have to understand that there is like a large camp here, like a liberal camp, that have been protesting this government for months, for almost a year. And we've been warning everyone that this government is going to bring a disaster on us. And I was part of these demonstrations. So we, the people who have been protesting, we feel like we've warned everyone that this government is going to bring a disaster upon all of us. And so the same people have been protesting, and the same people that knew that this government is this neo-fascist, like really horrible extreme right-wing government is gonna bring a disaster on us. We feel like we've been warning everyone for a long time. And now we're also in the field, like having these conversations, trying to post, trying to have some sense, have some logic. And we feel like we are trying to repair what this government has just destroyed. There's a lot of blame on the government here in the street.
And yeah, and I know you've been very vocal about them, for quite some time.
How do you feel like, what is the sentiment like in the diaspora? Like also you as a Palestinian American, how do you like?
I'm first of all, I'm in America. I'm surrounded by Americans. Americans are largely quite ignorant to everything that happens in the region. And as someone who's been explaining it to people via humor, which is my job as a stand-up for 16 plus years, I speak in dum-dum. And so this whole situation's been very stressful for me because I have a very strong emotional connection to Palestine. I have family not in Gaza, but in the West Bank, and I have family in Lebanon, and they're all terrified right now and watching what's unfolding. And I can't speak for Palestinians because I'm not there. I can't speak for people in Gaza because I'm not there, but I see the atrocities. Me and my family have been speaking up about it for many, many years. And to see this, it feels like a setback. I personally am not one to cheer on violence and escalation. I want this to stop. And again, I'm removed. I'm not there. I hear so many people in Gaza saying that, it's better to fight than just to die living in a cage, which I empathize with those sentiments. But at the same time, like, how many more children are we martyring this time? Who speaks for the children? Who are we to decide that they don't get to live because that's the way you feel? And that's how I feel. And I'm not saying that Palestinians shouldn't resist. I'm not saying that we need to end, I'm free Palestine and the occupation, but I think that Hamas failed the people once again.
Not only that, Sami, I'll tell you, as you know what, I'll go even deeper with you. Like, I see myself as a Jewish person who's part of, the movement to end occupation. And I fear that now the entire Palestinian resistance movement is being painted just by these horrific acts. And I don't know how, I truly don't know how us, like Jewish allies and Jewish activists to end occupation, we're going to have to, like, together with Palestinians, like, we were going to have to rebuild a lot that is being destroyed, because it is going to be so hard to convince people that the plight for justice and the plight for freedom is not painted by these acts that happened on Saturday. That Palestinians have so much more to offer, that we have so much more to offer for ending the occupation than, horrific, murderous acts. It's not. It's just, and it's, for me, amazing people that I know, Sami, I don't know, I mean, I don't want to depress you, but the amount of activists who are anti-occupation who died on Saturday from these acts is mounting up to the point where I don't even know how to explain. Like, there is one guy, he's called Haim Katzman. You know what he was doing with his life? He was protecting Palestinian shepherds in the West Bank from settler violence. Like, this dude was physically protecting Palestinians in the West Bank from settler violence. And his PhD and doctorate was about researching the ways in which the Jewish movements are becoming more and more nationalistic. His research was so groundbreaking in breaking down the ways in which settlers are becoming more colonial and more violent. And this person was in the field, like, protecting Palestinian shepherds. The gap to explain to people what it's like losing such a human being to these, like, that he's being murdered by Hamas, that, call themselves, Palestinian resistance, and then having Palestinians people not believe that this person died in their hands. For me, it's heartbreaking. The other person is a former soldier who gave, like, a breaking the silence, testimonies. We share online the testimonies of the former soldiers of Breaking the Silence, who broke the silence about their army service and said the truth about the horrific things that they did, as part of the army in the occupation. We believe them. And now Breaking the Silence lost I think it's about like 2 activists in their organization. And some people don't believe the horrific acts that happened to those former soldiers, but we still believe the testimonies that they gave. It's just, it's too much. It's too much complexity to hold. It's too much grief. And I'm not, and you know, civilians shouldn't be like graded for how conscious they were. Like, but I'm giving these examples because I know that a lot of people view them as allies. And I'm trying to find ways for people to connect to the reality, to what is happening here on the ground for us. How to comfort people, how to talk about the nuances of what is happening here. It's very, very, very difficult. And I'm trying to find ways to, you know, to talk about it.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on here to share things. I want to ask you, you know, 2 more questions, and then I'll let you get some sleep.
Yeah.
Number 1, for the Israelis and people around the world who are standing with Israel and basically upset, or maybe at some point had hopes for the end to Palestinian occupation, but now have, you know, either changed their mind or are, you know, second guessing because of what's happening. What would you say to these people?
Tell me again, to who to speak to
Who is your
exactly.
Israelis, and then people around the world who are standing in support of Israel, who at one point, you know, wanted freedom for Palestine and wanted an end to the occupation, but are now either on the fence or have changed their mind because of the recent events. What would you say to those people?
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that I really understand the pain when your blood is boiling because you're witnessing so much pain. It's hard to think straight. But I want us to not lose our sense of humanity. And I want us to completely disengage from any thought of revenge or dehumanization of Palestinians. We have to immediately withdraw from anything that is leading us to dehumanizing Palestinians or thoughts about revenge. Because these kind of thoughts and these kind of acts is what led us to where we are right now. So if you're listening to me and you're angry and you're frustrated, and I know that you are, and I'm the same, the answer to this, like, this is your testing point. We are not tested when we're sitting comfortably in our homes. We are tested in real times when we are in pain. It's those times where we have to dig deep into our hearts and deep into our souls and wholeheartedly refuse to hate people, to identify with these feelings of revenge, to say, come on, you know, my side will win and we will prevail and fuck them and let them burn in hell. No, because these kind of thoughts is what led to atrocities in the past. This is what's leading us to more atrocities right now. No, we have to go back into our center and moral compass and remember that only humanity and only justice and only equality and only rebuilding, that's the only way to build a future. Because even if we destroy so much in Gaza, so we'll have 2 years of Israelis will have 2 years of quiet, and then what? In 2 years, like, people want to live, people want to thrive, people want to get out of their prison, people want to have a future, people want to have exactly what you have in the US or exactly what Israelis have. They want to travel, they want to see the world, they want to develop, they want to build families, they want to have their own. Nobody's ever gonna, you know, let go of these dreams. We can't expect people to let go of their dreams. So I'm asking people who are not getting any support, not getting any solidarity right now, to just go back to your center, refuse any kind of senseless hate, refuse any kind of, you know, feelings of revenge, and, you know, get back quickly to your humanity ASAP.
Thank you. And this question may have a similar answer, but it's a different question. To the Palestinian people or people who are standing with Palestine, who hate you or dislike you because you're Israeli, or people who, you know, are Palestinian or support a free Palestine, who are justifying what Hamas did, the recent attacks. They're upset about 75 years of occupation. They're upset about the constant bombing of Gaza, and they're seeing that, and they're angry about that, and the anger is directed towards you and all of Israel. What do you say to those people?
Uh, wow, you're really generalizing a lot of people in one question. I don't know, I don't know if, I mean,
It's tough. It's a tough question. I know it's
yeah,
extremely tough
I mean,
question, but I am curious because as you know, you've been in this
no,
active game for so long, and there's Palestinians who don't like you simply because you're Israeli. So, you know, with everything that's waiting on them, the 75 years of occupation, and you know what's happening in Gaza right now, all of that anger and everything directed towards you or in general at Israelis, what could you say to them?
yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's really tough for me to answer that because, you know, if someone hates me just because, I mean, I don't know if there are a lot of Palestinians who can fit into this question, to be honest, Sammy. I don't know if there are a lot of people who can fit into this category.
Mhm.
But again, blood is boiling right now. People are super, super on the edge, right? I invite I invite people to, really look beyond the headlines and the propaganda and understand that there has been massive pain from these recent events. It's like there is the propaganda of the West right now, of the US and the narrative with Israel, and there is so much recognition for Jewish and Israeli pain, and I can put myself in a position of Palestinian to look at this and to say like, wow, there's so much compassion from the world. Like what the fuck, we want compassion to Palestinians as well. But I say to Palestinians who are watching this and they're angry, I want to say that beyond the like big headlines that you're seeing and the propaganda, there are like real people who've endured a huge amount of suffering and pain and violence in those recent attacks that cannot be denied. And I think the fact that we're trying to deny it only fuels it will only fuel more violent kind of like pro-Israeli sentiment, not recognizing what happened and the horrific attacks that happened by Hamas will only fuel more and more and more kind of like violent pro-Israeli, very, very militant Zionist reaction. And so I think, no, look at the humanitarian side of this situation. It doesn't take away from fighting, the occupation. If you realize that there has been like inhuman acts done by Hamas in these incidents, I'm telling you, as an Israeli Jew that has, I have been, a loud, very vocal speaker for, pro-Palestinian human rights. And, there's nothing ever that will also take me away from that, from being this advocate. And on top of that, I'm telling you that we can't deny what has happened, the enormous pain. I mean, I know so many people who are affected by this. The pain is real, and denying it will only fuel like militant kind of Zionist right-wing pro-Israeli actions. And I think that it will only lead to more violence and more hatred. And also, it's an invitation to think about, I don't know, maybe it's too early to talk about these things, but I really hope that we can have like a bigger conversation about what resistance looks like, about how we envision, the future of ending the occupation. I hope it doesn't involve kidnapping women and children. I don't think it will accomplish the goal. it will only lead to more aggression. Yeah, it's the time to be human. So much suffering, so much pain. I can't even.
Well, thank you, Noam. I know that last question specifically I gave you was a tough one, and you know, as much as we all, you know, everybody has their opinions on this and stands for some kind of action. Nobody actually has an actual solution. We're all just kind of, you know, following our instincts or following our gut. So I appreciate you, you know, sharing what you know, what you've experienced. Is there anything else you'd like the world to know about what's happening from your perspective as somebody who's been supporting Free Palestine on the ground in Israel for many, many years? What would you like the world to know now that everything has happened this last week?
I don't know. I don't know. I really, to be honest, Tammy, I don't have anything hopeful to say.
Yeah.
At this moment. It's just too much trauma and pain to process right now. The world should know that, you know, our pain and our suffering doesn't have to come on the expense, like, not our you know, there's such like people have such narrow paradigms for the conversation. I'm trying to hold so much complexity in one person. It's very heavy on me. And I think that people watching this, I think if you can contribute to a discourse that can uphold multiple sufferings and multiple narratives at one time, I think this is the best thing that you can do to us. You can recognize that there are people in Israel who are fighting this government. You can recognize that there are people in Israel who are enduring immense pain and suffering and lost loved ones, still looking for their loved ones. And at the same breath, you can recognize that what Israel is doing right now to Gaza, to 2 million people without electricity, without water, that have nowhere to go, have nowhere to escape. Basically, buildings are now, like everything, neighborhoods, mass destruction, so much pain. You can hold all of this pain together, and it doesn't have to come on the expense of the other, and we have to find a way to stop it.
I appreciate that message, no. I really do. I know you're going through a lot right now, and you know, I pressed some feelings out of you, and I like what you said at the end, that our suffering doesn't need to be to the suffering of others.
Yeah.
I vouch for that, and I don't care if anybody disagrees. I totally vouch for that. It's a difficult situation. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and if you know anything you liked about this or didn't like, message me please. I'll take it up. What you would like to see next. You know, this is the first live I'm doing about the situation right now. I intend to go live with people in Gaza, and people in the West Bank, and people in Lebanon, and you know, anywhere where people know something. So thank you for tuning in, and no, again, I really appreciate you being here. I know it's a stressful time for everyone and everyone around you. So I thank you for taking the time out of your evening to do this for folks.
Thank you, Sammy.
All right. Yes, be safe. We'll talk soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
You guys ready for the 2024 election? Yeah, Elon versus Zuckerberg. Let's go, huh? It's a cage match. I think all elections should be cage matches. I think more people would turn up to vote, right? Because elections aren't about who you like anymore. They're about who you hate less. And what better way to see that expressed than a cage match? And that's what it is, right? The old man competition is going down next year. And they're just like, we picked America's 2 most hated senior citizens and put them comb over to comb over. And you gotta pick which one you like that other people hate more. Figure it out. Like, what? Is this how voting is supposed to work? It's the lesser of two evils. This is the worst of all evils at this point, I'm pretty sure. Like, we all know that they're demons at this point. It's like, come on down and pick your favorite demon. That's why it's called democracy. Like, we all know that Biden is too old to be president, but we're not supposed to say it out loud because it's mean, I guess, even though he can't hear us. It's cruel. It's cruel to be, like, a vote for Biden is basically voting to watch someone die on their job. It's not a nice thing at all. I mean, forget about the country for a moment. For his sake, let him die in an old folks' home. You think he wants to be president? He's getting tased every day by Jill. She doesn't want to hold the taser anymore. They gave it to her. But everybody's like, okay, obviously he's not the greatest candidate, but he's the best that we can do. Do you really think that? If Joe Biden is the best that we can do, I'm a goddamn Republican. I'm sorry. I would rather ban my Muslim family from coming over to see my shows than have them here and witness the embarrassment of our leader falling down another flight of stairs. And everybody's like, this is ageism. This is ageism. Yeah, there's an age that isn't good to be president. You should know this by now. If you want to screen ageism, then let 10-year-olds vote. It goes both ways. Have an 8-year-old show up to the polls. I'm here for my vote. No, thank you. Well, this is ageism. You're letting the old guy run. I should be here. That's right. 80-year-olds shouldn't be president and 10-year-olds shouldn't vote. There's a nice range in between. Life expectancy is 78. You want to chance it by 2 years? And I'm not against, I love old people. My grandma is 96 years old and she's killing the game right now. She walks up 2 flights of stairs every day. She makes dementia jokes on the regular. And you know why she makes dementia jokes? Because she can remember them. That's the contract. How do you guys feel about Kamala Harris? Cool, mixed opinion. I like it. I like it. I'm tired of people picking on Kamala Harris. The Kamala Harris jokes, they're funny, but they're not cool. Kamala Harris is part of too many historically disenfranchised groups. I don't care. Joke all you want. Kamala Harris is a strong, black, Asian, female, mentally challenged person, and you will treat her as such. Even the person who supported her is laughing. I'm just saying, we all know. We all know what the deal is. She's part of many voiceless, powerless groups, and she now is the vice president, which is the most voiceless, powerless position you can have in the universe. I already got in trouble for that joke, don't you worry. A very nice special needs individual came up to me and says, hey, that was not cool. I'm like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said mentally challenged. He's like, no, looping her with us, that was not cool. You will not do that. People ask me what I think about Trump. It's like, I don't talk about Trump in my act anymore because I think his name got out there too much. I don't have an opinion on Trump. I'm a math guy. I just look at numbers. And I look at Trump's data sets. So when Trump was president, he had the lowest approval ratings in history, which makes him in mathematics an outlier, right? Biden also low too, but both the guys outliers. People don't give Trump credit for is that he was consistently low, but consistent, right? Like when people hated him, he didn't try to kiss a baby to gain some points. He's like, I'm gonna keep saying the same shit and go straight. And in mathematics, we call that a flat curve. So, yeah. So people ask, what's your opinion on Trump? I don't have an opinion on Trump, but mathematically, he's a flat outlier. Thank you so much. I'm Samuel Bade. Thanks for coming out to the show tonight. Y'all are amazing. Love you.
It's good. What's that?
Say you need to stop picking on people. Start doing real jokes.
I went to UC Berkeley. I majored in math. Yeah, all right. Go Bears. We got a lot of Bears up in this. I majored in math, which is why I do comedy now. Now, a lot of people don't like math, but half of us are math people. Half of the world is technically above the 50th percentile. You know what I mean? If you don't know what that means, you're below it. That's just a simple test, all right? It's a mean joke if you know what I mean. But I write a lot of math jokes, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to use my degrees, pun intended. Now, people don't really respect them. Like, I can't go up to a girl at the bar like, hey, girl, your legs make a triangle so right. What did the triangle say to the square when they were buying a house together? Cosine, Samuel Bay, nice to meet you. I should be in. I should be in right there. But no, she's yelling at me. She's going off on a tangent. You know what I'm saying? I'm the tangent, guys. These are math jokes. They're all math jokes. They're all math jokes. All right. My family's originally from Beirut, Lebanon. Thank you. Go Beirut. I've never been there. I've been to New York, which is a little closer. Now, in New York and on the East Coast, they call the game beer pong Beirut. I didn't know that. Yeah, they call it beer pong Beirut. My friend in New York's like, hey bro, you wanna play Beirut? What kind of creepy racist question is that? He's like, come on man, it'll be fun. I was like, all right, so I took him hostage. I didn't know how the house rules were. You know what I mean? But I'm part Lebanese and I'm part Palestinian, so I'm in the news all the time right now. Now, it's crazy because I'm Palestinian and my roommate is Jewish. So, we always fight over where his room starts and mine ends, okay? So, I mean, he pays more rent, but I've been there longer, you feel me, all right? You feel me? And we look the same. Now, it's tricky, I understand it is tricky because the Jews were in Israel first a very long, long time ago. They were there, but then they left, you know, they left. It's like you leave your towel on the bench press at the gym, and then you go, you know, you leave for 3 hours. Someone's gonna grab that towel and wrap it around their head. But the thing is, we share culture all the time, me and my roommate. I asked him, I said, hey man, what do you like most about being Jewish? He's like, I never thought about that before. I was like, just give me something off the top of your head. So he gave me his yarmulke, and I'm kidding. He sold it to me. Come on, these are all fun jokes. Everybody has a good time. Bridge the cultural relations. It's very important. It's good. What's that?
He said you need to stop picking on people. Start doing real jokes.
I'm just going to repeat what he said, and I'm not lying. He said you need to stop picking on people and start telling real jokes.
What?
Now,
Why are you applauding yourself, you jackass?
My brother. Okay, look. I'm a person, you're a person. I'm talking about real shit. Majoring in math, did that. Palestinian Jewish roommate, did that. Family from Beirut, did that shit. This is all real shit, brother. This is all real shit. This is my life. This is my life. You don't like talking about race? You don't like talking about race? Is that your thing?
It's the cheap way out.
It's the cheap way out, man. Well, you know what? Race is a reality to me, man. And it's a reality to most people. And I'm making light of it. I'm making light of it, brother. Why would the majority of the crowd be booing you? If it's... Did I have a turban? No, I do not have a turban. However, I will say, okay, look, you had a turban growing up, I didn't. Is that what you're saying? I get mistaken for being Indian all the time. And it annoys me too because there's a difference, bro. People are like, you're Indian. I'm not fucking Indian. You can't just pick any brown person and call us Indian. You're not Columbus. That one's for you. That one's for you.
Dead.
There's nothing wrong with being Indian. All right, let me get out.
No,
Can I do one?
no.
Can I do one more?
I'm not stopping you. I'm stopping you. You were handled. Let him finish his set. Thank you. But that was a master of work.
I'm sorry, man. Sorry. I won't pick on anyone. I won't do any more racial jokes, okay? I'm just saying my best friend is Indian, so it's an arranged friendship, and we're very close. And I was born here in Oakland, and I was raised in Fremont. Fremont, it's a lot like Oakland, less urban, more turban, if you know what I mean. And that's, thank you so much. My name is Samuel Babe. This is real shit. This is real shit. Real shit. Thank you so much.